Arkansas brings a lot to the table in this edition of the show. One of the most famous state parks is Petit Jean Mountain. You'll understand a little bit more about why this gem is so popular. And we also debut our first music video with our own Lee Wing at the violin, or in this case, a fiddle. And we also have a duck hunting gift guide and a trip to a catfish farmer in Greene County, all on this edition of Arkansas's Great Outdoors. A long time ago, legend has it that a young French woman could not bear to be away from her fiancé who was exploring the New World. So she disguised herself and got a job aboard the very ship with her betrothed, but didn't tell him. Must have been a great disguise. Now, the sad part of the story is that she took ill and didn't reveal herself until she was on her deathbed. Her dying wish was to be buried on the mountain that they had been exploring. Her fellow crewmates, thinking she was an abnormally small man, nicknamed her Little John, or in French, Petit Jean, thus the name of our first ever state park.
So we became Arkansas's first state park in 1923. For the first 10 years up here, there really wasn't a whole lot going on. It wasn't until 1933 that the Smithsonian Conservation Corps arrived down the mountain and got to work building all the original structures and blazing all the trails in the park.
So the CCC was heavily involved in, in building it and doing all of the work.
Yeah, they were here from 1933 all the way, a small contingency into 1942. Most of them left in 41. And there's 33 different structures in the park. And it's a style called parkitecture. So it's architecture that uses native material and is meant to blend in with the surrounding landscape.
Will you tell us a little bit about what is unique about this park with the flora and fauna and what people would see, what they will see when they go hiking and exploring here?
We have a pretty diverse vegetation in terms of just trees. We have a mixed pine and hardwood forest. So a lot of different types of oaks, a lot of different types of hickory. Shortleaf pine is the predominant pine tree up here, cedar and dogwoods and everything. As far as rock formations go, we are mostly a sandstone mesa up here.
Okay.
So the whole top layer of the mesa, we're actually kind of more like this.
Okay.
Kind of this shape instead of this. More of a big kind of dish shape up here. And all the water that falls in kind of funnels down to the center, and Cedar Creek down here is essentially the drain pipe of the whole mesa. And so it's made up of 3 different layers of stone. This top layer is a hard sandstone. They call it hartshorn sandstone. And it's only found in 2 places in the whole world, and that's the Arkansas River Valley, and there's a town in Oklahoma called Hartshorn, Oklahoma. That's where it gets its name.
So where are we going next?
Well, I'd love to take you over to Rock House Cave Trail. We'll see some really unique geological formations called turtle rocks. And once we get down to the cave, Rock House Cave is a big bluff shelter. It's the biggest concentration of Native American rock art in the whole state of Arkansas. There's over 200 pictographs in there.
Let's do it.
Sounds good.
And we will join Jake and Lee at the Rock House Cave a little later on in the show. Now, Petit Jean has some amazing hiking trails. Among those, the Seven Hollows Trail. Here's a brief look at one of our favorites.
So you found your perfect boot, you broke it in, but for some reason you're still feeling pressure points. It doesn't mean that your boot is a bad fit, you might just have to fix your laces. The first one is called box lacing or window lacing, and that's when you have some pressure points on the top of your boot. You will lace where the toes are to make sure you have support where your toes are, and then you leave the section open. You just lace it on the sides, and then you bring them back together around your ankle. Another version I really like is when you feel like your toes are getting really cramped, which is very common when you're out on the trail. The way you can alleviate that is you're going to unlace your boot completely, and then you're going to just skip the first couple of laces where your toes are, and then lace like regular when you're up at all the way up your boot. Now, if you're wanting some extra support around your ankle, or maybe you're noticing that after you're climbing over some rocks and really moving your foot that it's starting to loosen up, you can try something called a surgeon's knot. And that is when you go to tie and you wrap the laces twice, you make it nice and tight, and then immediately go into those hooks. I only have one hook on my boot, but you would do the same thing and lace it all the way up the hooks. That makes it really tight and strong, and it won't loosen up when you go on your hike.
When Arkansas's Great Outdoors returns, we will debut our first music video with Lee, all 3 of them, and it will make sense in a moment. But first, please take a moment to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We update daily with items seen on the show and other tips and tidbits from Arkansas's Great Outdoors. Fill your day with beautiful photography and inspiring scenes from Arkansas and from some of our favorite field trips from all over. Get on Facebook and Instagram and search Arkansas's Great Outdoors. Arkansas's Great Outdoors is brought to you by Bad Boy Mowers, by Visit Hot Springs, America's first resort, by the Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas, by Vexus Boats, and by Certified Arkansas Baitfish, the safe bait. Many of you know that my wife, Lee, who also joins us from time to time on this program, also plays violin in the Arkansas Symphony Orchestra. Today, we have a special treat. Her violin becomes a fiddle. Her setting is one of the largest municipal parks in the country, North Little Rock's Burns Park. Take it away, Lee. Thank you, Lee. We will feature more music in coming episodes, providing an inspiring backdrop for the beautiful outdoor scenes throughout Arkansas. Now, something else Arkansas is known for is duck hunting. Many of you know a duck hunter, and thanks to our friends at the legendary outfitter Max Prairie Wings in Stuttgart, here's a way to make that duck hunter happy with a unique gift that only Max can provide.
You know, everybody's looking for that neat little nichey gadget, you know, that's going to give you the edge, and we came up with this decoy. It's actually a Higdon swimmer, and you know how boys like to chase girls. So what you do is, this decoy, it's got a magnet right here that this rod attaches to. Then you attach a Drake decoy behind it. And this has a timer on it, and when it takes off swimming, it's going to drag the drake right behind it. So you've got a drake chasing a hen decoy, puts off a lot of ripple in the water. It's really effective. And those are exclusive here to us at Max Prairie Wings. Then we got another decoy here, it's called the Mallard machine. It's by Mojo, and it's a propeller-driven device it's got a timer on it, and it's going to actually bob in the water and put off ripples and make like a feeding mallard. So those are two really innovative, effective decoys, especially as you get into later into the season when these birds have been called at and shot at and hole weary. These will help you out.
Hey everybody, I'm Trent Whitehead with Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. I wanted to talk to you today about some boating safety. One of the things that's really important if you're going to be doing boating safety is attending one of our boaters education courses. It's a certification that's required for anyone born on or after January 1st, 1986. It's a really important course that teaches you all different kinds of things about boating safety. Okay, boating safety is something we really need. The rules of the road on the water, things that people don't think about that are really important when it comes to avoiding accidents. All kinds of information in that book. It's a good course, only takes about 6 hours to take, and it's free if you go to an instructor-led course.
When Arkansas's Great Outdoors returns, we head back to Petit Jean and see the largest display of Native American art in the state. Arkansas's Great Outdoors is brought to you by Bad Boy Mowers, by Visit Hot Springs, America's first resort, by the Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas, by Vexus Boats, and by Certified Arkansas Baitfish, the safe bait. What started out as an 80-acre state park now encompasses a massive section of Petit Jean Mountain just outside of Morrilton, Arkansas. There's history, of course, the legend of Petit Jean herself. There's also the CCC and their impact in building the park. But long before any of that, Native Americans had discovered the beauty of the area. Here's park interpreter Jake Curry taking us to the Rock House Cave.
So if you look right here, this is a really good example of it. So geologists say that a long, long time ago, there would have been a body of water that flowed over this landscape here and would have worked its way down to what would have just been a sheer cliff wall a long time ago. And over the course of thousands of years, that water slowly eating away at that sandstone, eventually kind of formed an eddy and hollowed out this big bluff shelter that's now Rock House Cave that we're going down to.
The cave drawings range from 500 to 1,000 years old. And since there was no written language, all of the images are open to interpretation. And there are at least 220 images in Rock House Cave.
And so a lot of people, when they think, cave paintings, they think cavemen, but like I said, these people didn't actually live in this cave, and they were actually pretty advanced society, had civilizations all along the Mississippi River and any of its tributaries, practiced large-scale agriculture.
Yeah, that's what you were saying. They were not just hunter-gatherers.
Mm-hmm.
They farmed.
Yep, and built big earthen mounds and had social hierarchy and all sorts of neat things.
Okay.
And then this one, again, we're not 100% sure, but this one we think could be a fish trap potentially. So kind of like a basket they would have woven that had a small funnel opening, and fish would swim through that funnel and don't have very good problem-solving skills and can't figure out how to swim back out.
You know, it's fun to study history and realize people were smart for a long, they've been smart for a long time.
Yeah.
I don't know that we give our ancestors enough credit for how intelligent they were and how many things they figured out.
And these people's agricultural system, they call it Three Sisters, which obviously that's an English translation that came later. But it all worked together. So it's corn, squash, and beans. You'd make these small mounds, plant corn in the center. A lot of times they'd put fish heads and different things down in the dirt. But the corn would be the first thing to sprout. And then the corn provided structure. The beans climb like a vine and climb up the corn. So the corn provides structure. And then beans will actually pull nitrogen out of the air and put it back into the soil. So it fertilizes the other two. Squash gets those big broad leaves, sprawls out low to the ground. And so it created a shadow on the soil underneath and reduced evaporation. So it reduced the need for watering.
So they had brilliant farming techniques.
Yeah, and so you figure soil scientists today now can, test the dirt and see that beans are putting nitrogen back into the soil and all that. And people 500 to 1,000 years ago already knew it. It's pretty impressive.
Petit Jean State Park is truly a gem in the natural state. If you like camping, they've got dozens of campsites, from tent sites to full hookup trailers. And if you like to hike, they've got short, easy trails to longer, more challenging ones. And each has the natural beauty to make getting outside very much worth the effort. Now, when we come back, we will head to the northeast corner of the state and learn about catfish.
One thing you'll notice about our fiberglass Vexus boats is the shape of the hulls. The shape of the hull is actually rounded on the outside. That's going to allow for a softer entry into the water. It's going to make the boat drier.
The way that they have it shaped, it pushes the water out away from the boat.
The VX20 is the smoothest riding boat out there.
Oh, it's the #1 boat on the water.
And that didn't happen by accident. That's a credit to our engineering team, and they've put a product that's unlike anything else on the water.
The process of building the hulls, it comes from 50+ years of craftsmen.
There's guys that's been doing this since 1968.
The way we've designed the hulls to shed the water and move it away from the boat also keeps that boat from, when you're hitting away, from crashing through it. It cuts through it, so you're not hitting a hard stop. It moves the water away and up and out.
I've taken this boat in big water, and I've yet to spear a wave. I've yet to get wet in it.
I fished a lot of big water, Lake Erie, Green Bay, and the way that this boat is handled in those rough conditions has been phenomenal.
Being able to eat up rough water, whether you're in a bass boat or in a DVX on the Great Lakes, these hulls are made for that.
The deep V, the dead rise in the bow, the way it turns into the pad in the back, the step that causes us to have a great hole shot and, enhanced performance on the top end, all of those things are kind of melded together.
Another thing you'll notice about a fiberglass Vexus is our forked front end. It gives you extra width up there where we fish at.
It really allows Vexus to bring that extra space and that real estate right up here.
There's nothing like riding in a Vexus. When they get in that surround of that big hull and the big front deck, it's kind of like being in a sports car.
The ride is just outstanding.
Probably the best ride I've been in a bass boat.
That is the smoothest ride I've ever been on.
Thumbs up, love it. You can't help but like it.
Whether you're talking a VX bass boat or a DVX big water walleye boat, you can be confident that what we're building in this plant is the best out there.
Arkansas's Great Outdoors is brought to you by Bad Boy Mowers, by Visit Hot Springs, America's first resort, by the Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas, by Vexus Boats, and by Certified Arkansas Baitfish, the safe bait. So far, we've traveled to Morrilton's Petit Jean State Park. We've visited with the duck experts at Max Prairie Wings. We've heard from Lee with a classic bluegrass song, and now we'll take you up to Paragould to see where some of the catfish you catch have their beginnings at Keeter's Fish Farms. Well, this is exciting. We've got Steve Keeter here with us, and we're going to talk a lot about what's all-encompassing with this industry, because what you're doing here is a little bit unique. You've got the bait fish side, you got the catfish side as well. So let's talk about bait first, because that's a big deal out of Arkansas. A lot of folks don't realize that about 90 to 95% of all of the farm-raised bait in the country comes out of 3 counties in Arkansas. We're in Greene County right here. So how did you get involved with this industry?
Well, we got involved in the fish industry about 1957. My grandfather built his first pond in 1957, slowly got into the catfish business, and we bumped along there just 100% catfish up until the late 80s, early 90s.
What's it like to be in this situation, multi-generational? You're carrying on the banner, and you got a thriving industry here.
Well, I mean, it feels good to be part of something like that, but there's also pressure to keep it going too.
Right, yeah.
So, and my daughter and son-in-law, they're involved in the farm too, and that's the 4th generation. So it's it's hard work, but it's rewarding too.
Keeter and his family, just like many of those in the bait fish industry, have built this up over multiple generations. Steve is generation number 3 in this family business. It started exclusively in the catfish industry, selling to restaurants, but now it sells to lakes who want to stock catfish and also bait. One of the innovations over the years was the aerator, providing much needed oxygen in the ponds. Okay, so the paddle wheel's going. Kind of for the novice, explain what's happening right here, why this is so important.
Well, this is important because this pond environment, when everything's going right, photosynthesis is creating oxygen during the day, and at night we've got respiration going on. And since we do feed everything, we feed the bait fish, we feed the catfish, and then you've got the waste from the feed. And at night, you have that respiration going up, and the whole environment is using the oxygen. The fish aren't using really that much of the oxygen out there. It's the environment is using the oxygen, but the fish have got to have oxygen to live. So at night, we go around, we've got a crew that comes in and works all night. They check oxygen all night long in the pond.
All this innovation and science means the customer gets exactly what they want, something that wasn't achievable years ago.
The fishermen are more particular, so therefore the customers are more particular. And we do the best we can to make everybody happy.
No, and they can be particular because you're doing such a good job here of being able to get that specific now, whereas previous...
We put in a big effort to do that.
Our bait fish and catfish farmers lead an industry which provides great fishing experiences all over the country. Steve Keeter is one of the farmers who makes it all possible, and the industry is all possible because of Arkansas's amazing natural resources. We thank you for watching, for being a part of Arkansas's great outdoors. Today we showed you one of our great state parks, Petit Jean State Park. You heard the legend, saw the scenery, and viewed the history dating back to over 1,000 years. Our duck hunters got a sneak peek at some great products from the experts at Max Prairie Wings. And we will leave you with a look at our first music video, courtesy of our own Lee. We'll see you next week, somewhere in Arkansas's great outdoors.